Okay, welcome to this AJK Pillar Day, and today we are going to be doing some baking, which I'm really excited about. We are going to be baking lemon biscuits today, and these are really lovely because they are soft and chewy but also have some lovely citrus flavors for summer. And these are the following ingredients that you'll need. I would recommend measuring them out before you get started because it'll make your baking much quicker. First, you need 115 grams of butter. This should be at room temperature because it's going to make it a lot easier to stir in. You also need 200 grams of sugar, granulated or caster. You're going to need some vanilla extract. If you don't have this, it's okay. You need 1 egg, 245 grams of plain flour, bicarbonate of soda. If you only have self-raising, ignore this. And 3 lemons. If you only have lemon juice, that's also okay. This is the equipment that you're going to need. If you're using bottled lemon juice, you won't need the starting items. So you will need a knife and a cutting board to cut open your lemons. You will need some measuring spoons. You'll need a grater. I have this long one, but any sort of grater will do. You'll need a whisk, and ideally you will also have a spatula like my blue one on the right, but if you don't have this, you can use a spoon. You also will need 1 to 2 baking trays. And to get started, you need to preheat your oven to 160 degrees Celsius and make sure that's preheated before you start. So step 1 is going to be preparing our lemons, so you'll need our lemons for this step. First, you're going to take your lemon and we need to zest it. So we're going to do that by taking our grater or our zester like I have and zesting it all over. You might find that it gets stuck if you have a grater like mine, so you're going to tap it out. This is sped up, you definitely don't need to be zesting as fast. And then when you're done, you're going to carefully take that zested lemon, put it into a bowl, set it out of the way. Then you can safely chop your lemon in half. It's really important that you put your lemon firmly onto the cutting board and keep your fingers away from the knife while you chop it in half. Now in this next clip, I've taken a really small sieve so that I can make sure that none of the seeds from my lemon that I'm juicing get into the bowl. If you don't have a sieve, that's okay, you can just fish them out with a spoon. So I'm juicing my lemon, and I'm going to do this to all 3 of my lemons. I've only shown you 1 here, but you need to do it to all 3 of them. Step 2 is my butter and sugar, so make sure you have those ready. You'll see in the background I have a stand mixer. You don't need one of those. I've used my hands. So first I'm going to take my room temperature butter. I'm going to put it in the bowl, making sure that I get all the butter out of my pre-measured area. Then I'm going to do the same thing with my sugar. And I'm going to stir those together in the bowl. I'm going to first just use my spatula to put them together. This is sped up, so don't worry, you don't need to stir this fast. And I'm making sure that I'm wiping down the spatula as I go with my whisk. My whisk is a little funny, you probably have a round whisk at home. And then, as you can see here, I'm whisking it all together so that it becomes one homogeneous mass. This takes a little bit of time. If you don't have a whisk, you can use a fork, but that might take even longer. I'm always making sure I'm wiping down my utensils, and the result is this. It's going to look not that appetizing yet, it's just butter and sugar. Then for step 3, I'm going to need my egg and my vanilla. This is where you're going to need your teaspoon measure so that you can get the right amount of vanilla. So first I'm going to crack my egg. I crack it on the countertop because my countertop is nice and clean, and then I can crack it into the bowl. If you get any shell, make sure that you get that shell out of the bowl before you continue. I had to go and wash my hands after this because the egg made my hands really sticky. Then I'm going to take a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Make sure you measure it nicely into your teaspoon and measure it away from the bowl so that if I have any extra, it doesn't put extra into my recipe. Then I'm going to take my whisk and I'm going to whisk those into the mixture. The mixture is going to be more like liquid now, and again I've sped this clip up so don't feel like you need to be stirring this much. The real key here is I'm always wiping down the sides of the bowl, as you can see here with my spatula, so that all of the bits get incorporated. And this is what it looks like when it's done. It's definitely more liquid. Now, step 4, I'm going to add my last ingredients, and those are my dry ingredients. So first I'm putting in all of my lemon zest. That was from all 3 of my lemons. Then I'm going to measure out my bicarbonate of soda. I need half a teaspoon of this, and it should be level like you can see here. And finally I'm going to put in my flour. You need to do this carefully so that it doesn't go everywhere and make a big cloud of flour in your kitchen. Make sure that you get all the ingredients out of your pre-measured bowl. And then I'm going to whisk it together. Just like before I sped this up, it takes quite a while to do this and it's going to feel quite dry. That's normal. The real key here is that you mix everything together so it forms a sort of paste. I ended up using my spatula after my whisk to make it more homogeneous. And this is what it looks like when you're done. It's quite a dry paste, it's not super wet. Don't worry, we're going to add a little more liquid. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm then going to add 3 tablespoons of my lemon juice. This can either be your freshly squeezed lemon juice or one out of a bottle. Here you'll see me add a little more at the end. It's because I didn't quite fill up my tablespoon measure. Then I'm going to stir all of it together, making sure it's all mixed in just like before. It's going to be slightly more liquid and slightly easier to work with. You'll see how I'm still scraping down the sides of the bowl and scraping my spatula so that anything that got onto my spatula still gets incorporated into the mix. You can also use a big wooden spoon if you don't have a spatula. And this is what it looks like when my cookie dough is completely done. So now that my cookie dough is completely done, I need to be spooning this out onto my trays. If you only have one tray, you'll have to do this twice. So here I'm using both an ice cream scoop and a spoon. If you only have a spoon, that's fine. I'm going to scoop up some of the dough into my ice cream scoop and then help get it out with the spoon. I'm going to make 16 cookies in total, so you need to make sure that you don't make it too big. On each of my trays, I'm going to make a 2x4 grid. So that's why I've ended up having to use 2 trays. And this is just it sped up. It will take quite a while to do this, that's okay. At this step, I'd also double check that your oven is preheated. You don't want to stick your cookies in unless your oven is preheated. And I'm going to do this 2 times. When I finish doing this, it's really important that I put on my oven gloves before I get started. That way, if I accidentally touch one of the shelves in the oven, I don't get burnt. So I'm putting on my oven gloves, opening up the oven, and then putting 1 tray on each shelf. Then I'm going to close the oven and I'm going to leave it alone for 14 minutes. This is just a time lapse of what they look like, really sped up. If you see me moving around in the background, this is a fantastic time to do all of the washing up so that when your cookies come out, you're ready to eat them. You'll know your cookies are ready when they look golden brown. I probably could have left mine up for a couple more minutes. You should wait at least 10 minutes before putting them either onto a plate or onto a cooling sheet like I've done here. And then you can decorate them if you wish, possibly with some sprinkles or with some sugar on top. Hope you had fun baking these lemon biscuits on this pillar day. Do take pictures of your creations and send them to your form tutor so that we can see all your wonderful work. Have a great day.